So now I want to get back to Liverpool because I want you to give you a chance to talk about your team. This is the team that I know that you enjoy watching, and also just I know a bunch of guys in the team enjoy watching Liverpool as well. So I'm looking through the next couple of games, and I'll be honest, there are some games where I'm like, okay, they have a good, this is a pretty easy win for them, but I would not say any game in the Premier League is an easy win. But let's go into just a little bit of their games. I mean, you know this obviously, but they play Sheffield United, Chelsea, Fulham, and then they go into the Champions League round of 16, leg 2 of 2 against RB Leipzig. So
Yeah.
again, all those games going in. So I want to ask you, how do you feel about those games? I think Chelsea, and I even think the round of 16 game definitely would make me a little nervous because Chelsea right now is fifth in the league, and you guys just lost to Leicester City and Everton, two teams that were top 10. Really,
Mhm.
you guys got kind of blown out in both games.
Yeah.
I guess Everton not as much, but let's talk about those games, those next 4 games coming up, and tell me kind of your confidence level and what Liverpool needs to do to win those games.
Yeah. So I think firstly, I think looking at the upcoming fixtures as a Liverpool fan, I think at this point where it's safe to say Liverpool's in the race for the top four. So I don't think we're completely out of the title race. Um, so it's important now that we finish top four and get Champions League. And I think to do that, if you talk about those next four fixtures, you said we play Fulham and Sheffield in two of those next four. Like those are games that if you want to finish in the top four, you have to win. So those two right away, I would say, are must wins. And I think any 11 Liverpool should puts out will dominate the game. I don't. That doesn't necessarily mean in the Prem that you win it, as we've seen many times. But I think those two games should be wins. The Chelsea game will be tough because they have a new manager who's got them playing well, and they have a lot of dangerous attackers and a solid defense. So that'll be a tough game. And I think I think so. I don't know if you saw the game against Leipzig. That's the second leg of our tie with them. We won the first leg 2-0 last week. So we have a 2-0 advantage going into that game. And I think we were talking about I was talking about this with my teammates who I'm living with. It's interesting to watch those Champions League games against top teams from other countries because in that game where Liverpool won 2-0, Leipzig made two really, really bad defensive errors that led to two easy Liverpool goals, and that was the difference. And you just don't see teams making those errors in the Prem. Like if Liverpool to score in the Premier League has to put together a really good move or has to get just like hit a good free kick or get a bounce of luck. But Leipzig handed us two goals, and I think that for that reason I do think we'll get past Leipzig, but we could end up against like a Bayern or a Juventus in the next round, which I think would be really tough given our current squad.
That's fair. That's fair. I like to compare sport to sport. So, as you know, I think you follow the NBA enough to know the NBA is a player-driven league, right? The players kind of determine where they want to go. They determine the players that come to certain franchises. Let's look like, for example, the Brooklyn Nets, right, or LeBron James and the Lakers, right? Guys who just drive those markets and a lot of teams to go. I wanted to ask you because you've mentioned management being important, how certain teams have been able to go out there and play at a high level. But let's talk about, do you think comparatively that Premier League soccer is more hinging on management and coaching, like front office, than the NBA as opposed to just being a player driven league?
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting point, and I think I would definitely say that football, soccer, and across all leagues, not just the Premier League, is much more of a management and it's much more management and organization driven in the way that the player like so Liverpool every player on Liverpool is a global superstar on the same like in England they would be on like the same level as any like top NBA player in terms of popularity and fame, but none of them have any say whatsoever in who comes to the club. They might, they like Mo Salah could get on the phone to one of his old teammates and say, "Yo, I love it, Liverpool, you should come." But at the end of the day, it's the club and the ownership group who's signing the players, and I think so. That's like the business side of it, and then the coaching side, I think, and obviously basketball is a very intricate like complex game that does require a lot of like plays and coaching. But I think when you watch the NBA, you see guys just like you watch LeBron play in a game and he just kind of takes over. He's got the ball. He's like there's an offense out there that the Lakers are running, but at the end of the day, the offense is give the ball to LeBron and let him score. So I think when you look at soccer, you can't do that because if one player tries to take on the other team, they've got 11 guys try to get it off of him, and so I think you need more of the manager to kind of drill into the team what you're going to do, have some kind of game plan, whether you're going to sit back and counterattack, whether you're going to press from the start. So yeah, I think that's a really interesting comparison to make, and I think soccer is different than basketball in that way.
If you like that clip from the Shred Takes podcast show, I encourage you to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And also, if you want to check out the full episode in its entirety, go to Apple Podcasts and Spotify to view the full episodes.